All right, welcome everybody. We're going to give folks a few moments to join, and then we're going to go ahead and get started with a quick introduction before we jump into today's CEU. Okay, great. Looks like I'm seeing a good amount of folks start to jump in the room already. So thank you everyone so much for joining today. Super excited to have you here for innovative design applications in fire-rated glazing technology. It's presented by the team at SAFTI-FIRST. Mike Augustine is going to be our main presenter today, and we've also got Jennifer and Armani on who are going to be helping out with answering any questions. So feel free to submit any questions or comments to the Q&A throughout today's presentation, and we've got a team here who can help you out with that. Before we jump in and get started, I'm going to take care of a few quick, oops, sorry, I froze. I'm just going to take care of a few quick housekeeping items. So today's event is AIA approved. We did ask for AIA numbers upon registration. We'll also send over a form momentarily in the chat. If you're worried you didn't include your AIA number there, you can let us know through that form. And then I also want to give you all some information for what to do after today's webinar. If you're looking to get some more information about the solutions and the products that we're talking about today, or to get in touch with the safety team directly. So after today's webinar, you can head over to Acelab. We will send a link to this in the chat so that you've got it easy access. This is a great place to come and get in touch with their team. You can contact them directly, talk to them about a project, follow-up questions for the webinar today. And then you can also view all of their products, which is a really great resource. So if you come down here, you can save these products to your firm library, to your research folders, or to a project if that's something you're working on. And you can also open up any of these product pages. You can download on Acelab. So if you're looking for product brochures, data sheets, spec files, some more product information, this is a really great place to come to get all of those resources and documents that you need. So keep your eye out in the chat for some of these links for us. And then last thing I want to mention is we will give you the option to let us know if you're interested in getting in touch with the safety team directly today during the webinar. If you say yes to that, we'll go ahead and connect you over on your Acelab account. You're going to receive an email about any messages that come through your Acelab account. You can also access all your conversations on our platform by just clicking this little conversation icon in the top right. That'll bring you over to a page with an overview of all your messages. Again, you'll get emails about these. You can respond to those emails. You don't need to open this, but it can be a great place to come and just get an overview of all of your conversations. All right, with that, I am going to go ahead and hand it on over to Mike to get started with our CEU portion of today's presentation. Mike, thank you so much for joining. Feel free to share your screen and get started whenever you're ready.
Great, Bo. Thanks for the introduction. That was much more entertaining than I'll be, ladies and gentlemen, so I apologize for that. Again, my name is Mike Augustine. I am a direct employee of SAFTI-FIRST. I'm the Director of Architectural Promotion. So we do a lot of, we head up the pre-bid design when working with the architectural community. I've been with Safety for about 10 years. I've been in the fenestration industry for about 27, so I date myself. We are located in Brisbane, California. It's our corporate offices that is right in between the San Francisco airport and downtown San Francisco. We do all of our manufacturing in Merced, California, in the Central Valley. We have 4 facilities down there that are dealing with glass, doors, framing, and our R&D capabilities. We like to say we're nuts and bolts. We are the only vertically integrated fire-rated glass and framing company in North America. We're doing everything ourselves, and not only in the manufacturing, but we have our own marketing team. Armani and Michelle Armani and Jennifer are here with us today. We have our own project management, our own engineering, estimating. We do everything from nuts to bolts. So we like to just give a little bit of commercial of who SAFTI-FIRST is. Family owned, William O'Keefe. So we'll get into this presentation. I will start it. Bo said I had 9 minutes, so we're gonna see if it's hit. All right. So we're gonna see if we can hit that, Bo. Can everybody see my screen? Are we good?
I can see your screen. Yep.
We go into slide presentation. There we go. All right, so we're good to go. So like Bo said, an introduction, innovation, design applications using advanced fire-rated glazing technology. The presentation is going to be as exciting as it sounds. So it's going to be keep you on the edge of your seat. So I talk fast. I know if I'm talking too fast, send somebody a note. I'll try to slow down. I'm gonna cut my camera so you're not fixated on my forehead during the presentation. So we'll get into this. Bo also said it's accredited by the AIA, so you will get your 1 credit. Copyrighted materials, just some housekeeping that we put that slide in there just to take care of ourselves. So learning objectives. We're going to review some of the history of fire-rated glass from the foreign-made wired solutions, the ceramic, to the high-performance U.S.-made solutions. Number 2 is the most important in my mind. If you can walk out of the presentation and you understand the difference between fire protective and fire resistive, that's how IBC distinguishes the two fire-rated categories. We're examining how the architectural community's demand for large sizes, multiple function products has really changed how we have to go to market with fire rating. We have to help in the design, not hamper the design. And like I said, we'll discover some of the importance of the multifunctional fire-resistant glazing products provided, such as hurricane blast, ballistic forced entries. And we have a bunch of case studies at the end that we can go through to highlight some of the innovations in the fire-rated glass and framing applications. So a history of fire-rated glass. Sit back and we're going to have a test. So the old solution was an opaque wall. And then, some of the old technology, came in with the wired glass and then the ceramic. But, these solutions can be expensive. You can only use them when you're dealing with fire protective solutions. So you're limited to how much you can put into your design. And then when you got into CPSC in 1977, the hazardous locations, category 1 and 2, if you were going to use a ceramic or a wired, it had to be laminated or filmed. So it can become a very expensive product to use. And then nobody makes it here in the United States. So you have to import it from Asia or Europe. So category 1 is any glass smaller than 1,296 square inches has to take the impact of a small child, 150 pounds of force, and not break or stay intact. Category 2 for a CPSC is anything larger than that 1,296 square inches has to survive an impact of an adult at 400 pounds. So that would be Armani running into me. I'd have to stay put. So the evolution, and again, the clear solutions, transparent, larger sizes. This all came from the feedback from the architectural community, the design community. So you can see the difference between a clear specialty fire protective unit and the laminated ceramic. You can see the clarity, the large visions. So when you put it up next to the non-rated, you can't look and say, well, that's the fire rated. And then, some of the other designs that we'll get into later, the butt glaze solution, the larger lights of glass, 10,000 square inches, 10-foot doors, which we will get into, that all came from the demand to meet the design intent from the architects and building owners. Stuck. Oh, did I miss a slide? All right, there we go. So, and then we talked about the evolution of multifunctional. So everything's going to start with fire rated, and then we can add the ballistic component to it. We can do blast, hurricane, forced entry, UV. We're seeing a lot of exterior solutions now. The acoustic, the OIA-TC, STC, and then we can add direct decorative glass spandrel units into our units, into our fire-rated glazing applications as well. So where can fire-rated glass be found? Well, it's really almost anywhere now. Fire-rated doors are still the largest segment that we deal with. Fire-rated doors, a side light, a transom, you see that a lot. Fire-rated openings and windows, these are fire protective, which we'll get into in the next couple slides. And then the fire-resistive barriers. That's even though it's a transparent barrier, that is still a fire-resistive wall. So load bearing and non-load bearing, and then the fire-resistive floor systems too, up to 2 hours. So we're going to get into a learning objective 2, which I think is the most important, fire protective versus fire resistant. So IBC has the 2 categories. So fire protective is going to be openings, windows, and doors. So this is only going to block the visual components of a fire, what you see, the smoke and the flames. And typically it's going to be 45 minutes and under. And then you have the fire resistive barriers or walls. So again, that's a transparent barrier. That's going to block the smoke, the flames, and the radiant heat. And the radiant heat's the silent killer in a fire. That's the energy that's moving through the glass that when that energy absorbs a desk or a person, it's going to become combustible. So when you have to block that radiant heat, that ASTM 119 standard, you have to be very careful when you're designing to make sure you're using the transparent barrier. And fire protective, again, it's going to contain the smoke and the flames. NFPA 257, NFPA 252, and the door standards UL9, UL10B, UL10C. The fire resistive wall is always going to be a wall. ASTM 119, that UL263 assembly, blocking the smoke, the flames, and that radiant heat. So that's the big difference. The fire protective is only going to block what you see. The fire resistive is blocking that radiant heat. When you're dealing with the fire resistive solutions, there's no amount that there's no limit on how much of a solution you can use. When you're dealing with fire protective, you have to keep your solution under to 25% of that application. If you go over 25%, then it's going to default to a fire resistive transparent barrier by code. So the fire endurance test, everything has to be tested and bugged. So you'll be able to see exactly what it is when you walk up to that piece of glass. So it's going to go into a heat chamber. It's going to heat up to 1900 degrees Fahrenheit. It's going to stay in that chamber from 20 minutes to 3 hours, depending on what the test is for. If it's a fire resistive solution, it can heat up to 250 degrees hotter on the non-fire side, but that is not but that's still considered by code what the limit of the heat can go to. You're not going to feel that heat. So you can see the person that was administering the test had the heat test on. So this was a fire protective solution because that radiant heat was moving through. So if he wasn't protected, he would feel that intolerable human pain. So the hose stream test, still very prevalent here in the United States. Once it comes out of that chamber, they're going to turn 180 degrees. They're going to put a fire hose on it 20 feet away at 30 PSI. If it is a fire resistive wall, blocking that radiant heat, ASTM 119, UL263, you could have no loss in that opening for the duration of the test. If it's an NFPA 252 where it's only fire protective, where you're limited to how much you can use, and it's only blocking the smoke and the flames, you can have a little bit of separation of glazing around the perimeter and center, but for the most part, it has to stay intact. And I said, it's maintaining the structural integrity. That's what this test is for. So what is radiant heat? We kind of talked about it. I jumped. I apologize. I was excited about it. So it's that energy that's moving through the glass. And that energy will absorb whatever it touches. And over time, it's going to become combustible, whether it's the desk, a bookshelf, a chair, a table, or a human being. So when you have to block that radiant heat, you need to use that ASTM 119 UL263 system. So this shows you 3 types of fire protective glazing: ceramic, wired, and heat reflective, specially tempered. So these are all protective glazing. So you can see the mannequin, looks like walking to school. That glass is only going to block what you see, the smoke and the flames. It's not blocking that radiant heat. And you can say, well, Mike, I can see smoke. That's not the smoke from the fire. That's the smoke from the energy being absorbed on the mannequin. Then you can see over time that energy is going to get so hot, it's going to become combustible. So you have to be very careful when you're dealing with these solutions and know the difference between fire protective and fire resistant. And this is just a chart of what we just saw. So I love that, in that 4 to 8 minute, you're going to feel that intolerable human pain. When that energy is moving through that glass, you're going to feel it. It's going to knock you down. And in that 10 to 15 minutes, you're going to get that spontaneous combustion with the fire protective solutions. If you can see that green line on the bottom, that is a fire resistive solution. That's going to block that radiant heat. You're not going to feel that intolerable human pain, and you're going to be safe until someone can protect you or as you're getting out of the building. So you have to be very careful where your solution is and what solution you need to meet when you're dealing with your design. So fire resistive glazing type is defined as fire resistive assemblies, accordance with ASTM 119 UL263, blocking smoke, the flames, and the radiant heat, and it will pass the hose stream test. So the 2 types of fire resistive wall products, you have 2 lights. The one slide, the fire resistive filled glass, is 2 lights of tempered glass sealed together. You have the semi-rigid fire retardant material in between the lights of glass. And then you have the multi-laminate, where it's multiple lights of laminated glass, and there's a layer in between each section of glazing. And it's going to give you the same performance up to 2 hours. And this is just an example of what happens when a fire breaks out. So you have the two lights of tempered glass sealed together with that semi-rigid material in between the lights of glass. It's multi-directional. So the glass will expand to the heat source. The glass will eventually break. All the moisture will be sucked out of that intumescent material. It's going to cake on or layer on to the surviving light of glass. It looks like plaster. And that's what blocks that radiant heat. So you can see that gentleman in the last slide. He's standing behind that, and he's not feeling that intolerable human pain. So that's what blocks the radiant heat. And this is just an example of what I just said. So you have the fire resistive solution, ASTME 119, UL 263, the assembly. The framing and the glass have to match. So you have a full fire resistive wall there. And you can see the glass will break, intumescent will cake on, stop the radiant heat. So opening ejectors threes, demand for the largest sizes, the clarity, unobstructed views. And now that we're doing a lot more exterior, thermal performance is becoming key. Everybody's asking U values, R values. So that can all be calculated now when you're dealing with fire rated solutions. So large sizes now, 10,000 square inches, max height and width up to 133, and the temporized doors up to 10 feet. So we have a couple case studies here that we'll get into. We have more than a couple. Jen loaded us up, so a lot of good stuff here. So I hope I didn't put you to sleep in the first part of the presentation. So this is the warehouse on 520 West 20th in New York City. So this is a 2-hour exterior solution. And at first they had it broken up with a vertical. And then when we got involved in the design, we said, well, we don't need that. We can do that 11 by 5 panel in one panel. So unobstructed views, and you get big views of the cityscape. And it also had to be an energy efficient makeup because it was on the exterior of the building. So you can see the large views, maximum panel sizes, optical clarity, and thermal performance. So this is the Starbucks roastery in Chicago. So this, at the time, I don't know if it still is, was the largest Starbucks in the world. This was in the Crate and Barrel flagship store. This is also a 2-hour design, and they had a local artist you see there that designed that 4-story painting, and they wanted to get the maximum views. So again, you have large views of glass, 10 by 4 panels. They used a butt glaze solution to give you maximum clarity, no framing in there. And then you can see that is a 10-foot door. So again, largest doors in the industry, 10-foot full light vision doors. So now you can eliminate that transom. So now you eliminate, the framing, get you more clarity, more vision area. So anytime you do a job at Harvard, you're going to put it in your case study, right? So this is Clarman Hall at the university, at Harvard Business School in Cambridge. So this is a 1,000 square foot auditorium, and they wanted the transition between the lobby and the lecture hall, the auditorium, seamless, because they use that area for functions. So this is segmented in plan. This is a 2-hour application. You can see large lights of glass, custom hardware integrated into the doors. And it just gives you maximum views, 9-foot doors, full light vision. So again, it's hard to look at this, especially when a segmented area, and say, well, that's fire rated glass, when you can see, the visual characteristics look like a non-rated system. So direct lines of sight to create an immersive visitor experience, open up stairwells, the living areas. So the first one we'll get into is the University of Wisconsin. This is the Learning Commons. So this was in a 1 hour stairwell that they wanted to open up. So, and in this solution, they used a clear butt joint. And we'll see that in a second. So they wanted to open up their stairwells to get as much natural light in as they could. And they opted for the clear butt joint. And again, a 9-foot door, again, eliminate the transoms, a large door light to enhance the views and the vision into the space. So this is waste management in Texas. So this is also a 2-hour wall, and they have a 9-story living area that they wanted to open up and really preview, but it had to be that 2-hour wall. So there was a solution 9x8 panels. Again, this is ultra low iron for maximum clarity. So they really wanted those views to be clear. So you can use a specialty low iron glass to give that characteristic and maintain the 2-hour fire resistive solution. So this is a cool one. This is Porsche Tower down in Miami Beach. When you buy a unit, they give you a car. So I know they're not selling fire rated glass, but they came up with this solution, and it is an elevator, a fully automated elevator that takes your car right to your unit. So when they did that, that whole elevator unit had to be a fire resistive solution. And then it takes you up to your unit, and it's like a glass garage. So that whole glass garage area also had to be a fire resistive solution. So there's 130 units, and it is a fire resistive solution. And you can see where your car goes right to your unit. And that whole area, the elevator shaft and the glass garage, all had to be a fire resistive solution. So we'll get into some of the thermal performance. We are in CMAS, which is NFRC's tool. So once you let us know what solution you need as far as rating and what type of glass you're using on the exterior, we can calculate your thermal performance through simulations. So the first one is the Aspen Art Museum, which is a really cool project. You can see they have like a woven wood screen that sits out in front of the curtain wall section. So there had to be a 2-hour solution, fire resistive solution on this wall, but it also had to meet the extreme climates too that you get in Aspen. So thermal was very, very important for this project. Well, it wasn't even thermal. We had to do dynamic curtain wall testing. We had to do thermal cycling and then condensation as well. So this really previewed a lot that can be done when you're dealing with fire rated solutions, how we can help with the design. So this is the Cortland in New York City. This was a job that the biggest thing that had to do was match the non-rated. The residents, wanted to maximize the space, and they wanted to see seamless between the non-rated and the rated systems. So we did that with, the framing and the type of glass that we used on the exterior. So maximum property lines, again, can meet the lot line requirements and maximal buildable area, especially in the cities, as much square footage you can get into a building you want to get. So, we were able to help out on one Sullivan. It was a property line, and they had to use a cantilevered solution because the property line was actually their own property, and they wanted to maximize the space and the views of the building. So we were able to do that with a fire resistive solution that was cantilevered. So again, the engineering capabilities are really cool. What can be done when you're dealing with these solutions. So we're getting to learning objective 4. These are the multifunctional, like we talked about. So the first one we'll get into is the VA in Orlando. So when we're dealing with, this was a 2-hour hurricane curtain wall. So we are tested with the Florida Building Code and the Texas insurance. So not only did this need to be 2-hour, this had to be tested for small and large missile, and the hurricane component all had to be designed into the fire resistant wall. And this project was actually shipped factory glazed, which was nice for ease of installation. So the blast rated. So this is a pretty cool job. This is the Army Hospital on the West Coast. So this was also a 2-hour fire resistant wall that needed to meet blast. So we had to design the system to meet the DoD anti-terrorism standards. So when you do that, it's not only the 2-hour fire resistive solution, but then you have to get the glass to work to meet the DoD standard, and then the framing and the way the framing is anchored also had to be all calculated and engineered to make sure we met the DoD standard. So fire ballistic forced entry. Uh, uh, we can do level 3 up to level 3 ballistic in the doors, up to level 8 in the openings and wall areas. And this will meet the ASTM 1915 standard for forced entry and ballistic. I can't not pronounce that parish. My boss makes fun of me. It's a project in Devant, Louisiana. I can say that. So this is this is a detention center. It had to meet 45 minute protective solution. It had to meet the level 3 ballistic, and then it had to meet the grade 2 forced entry. And they wanted to get maximum views so the guards could see the prisoners while maintaining their safety. And no one could get in because it met the ballistic and the forced entry standards. And we also used the tampered resistant framing. So the inmates could not tamper or get to the screws of the framing. So we'll get into some of the fire rated floors too that we talked about. So the central subway station right here in our hometown of San Francisco was a really special project to it. It was a flagship project for the city. It was right in Union Square, right in the shopping hub. And they wanted to get as much daylight into the subway stations. So they came up with a 2-hour exterior walkable floor surface that incorporated the art design by a local artisan. So we were very, this is a very high profile project. They're right in the heart of downtown. So you can see, not only the resistive walkable floor surface getting that natural light, but we also did light walls, and there was vertical solutions in this subway. So you can see the light wall there and the vertical solutions in the shafts. So, it was, like I said, a very high profile project. They wanted to, beautify the subway station to get people to use the transit into the city, right into the heart of the shopping center. So it's a very cool project that shows again the capabilities of the engineering that can be done when you're dealing with a fire resistive solution, not just a vertical solution, but the horizontal solutions as well. And then this is the 21C Hotel in Nashville. I believe this was the first floor job we did. 21C Hotel. So if you've ever been into a 21C hotel, they all have themes. And this was an art museum. So they wanted to get as much daylight through the whole, I think it's 4 stories of the whole museum from top to bottom. So they used maximum clarity, fire resistive floor, 1 hour to get all that natural daylight to open up the light, get as much light into the museum for the people going to see the artwork. So it was a really cool project, and it is a fully supported butt glazed application. And that concludes the presentation. Bo, I think we went over 9 minutes. I apologize. But I want to thank everybody for coming and listening to the presentation. I want to thank Bo for setting this up. The one thing we always have to say is, now that the presentation is over, at Safety First, we want to be your go-to. We want to be your first phone call. if you have one light of glass, if you have 100 doors. Because as you can see, if you can get in early and we can help in the pre-bid, we can help with details, custom details. We can help with pricing. We can help with specifications. So we can help with the design. You might think, this has to be fire rated. What can we do? But we can really design our systems to almost mimic the non-rated systems to just give you a seamless design for your whole building. So, we hope you liked the presentation. We hope you remember safety first, and we look forward to talking to everybody in the future.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mike. We definitely have some questions in the Q&A, so if it sounds good, I can just out loud and we can take it from there. All right, let's see. For your first fire-rated glass and doors, this comes as a UL listed system with frame included. What about for fire-rated glass in a wall opening? Does your system require special mullions?
Yeah, so anytime you're dealing with a fire resistive solution, that ASTME 119, the glass and the framing have to match. So yes, you need to buy the glass and the framing. It will give you a 1 or 2 hour fire resistive wall together. So yes, the glass and the framing would have the same rating.
Awesome. All right. Do your tests also allow for use in Canada, such as
Yes.
ULC listings? Okay.
Yep, S10, S101, S104, and S106. So we do have we go to market by independent reps, and we do have a rep firm in Canada, and we've been very successful in the Canadian market. We do have done a lot of the mass transit stations, a lot of work at University of Toronto. So yes, we are tested and listed to the Canadian standard.
Awesome. All right. It looks like some folks are asking for a copy of the slides. Would that be something that you are able to provide?
Yeah, I'm gonna give you. I'll give you my Venmo, and you can send me $25, and I'll get you. That's per slide. No, we can definitely send the slides out for sure.
Awesome. All right, great. Let's see here. Looks like that might take care of all of our questions for now. We do have a few more moments because Mike did do such a great job at doing that so quickly. So while we wait to see if there are any other questions that come in, I'm just going to do a quick recap for some folks who might have missed this at the beginning. So one moment here, and I'm going to take over screen share in just a second. All right, and then while we're also waiting to see if there are any further questions, I also will mention we're going to have a post-event survey. So as you are leaving today's event, feel free to leave any other questions that might come up on that survey, any feedback. We would be happy to hear from you and hear how this went for you. So yeah, would really appreciate if you can take a moment to fill that out. All right, cool. While we're hanging out, waiting for some more questions, I just want to show everyone real quick, in case you missed it at the top. Let's see here. So everybody who signs up for our webinars, they have a free Acelab account. You can use Acelab afterwards to get some more additional resources about some of the things that we talked about today, as well as for getting in touch with the Safety-FIRST team. So scrolling down here, just want to show everyone you can save these products. You can open up these product pages to get spec files, to get product literature, certification information. So this is a really great place to come after today's webinar. We shared a link to this in the chat as well. So feel free to grab that from the chat. You can also we have a live chat on our platform. So if you're, exploring Acelab and you need some help getting information that you don't see here, you can reach out to our team directly too. We're here to help you. We'll make sure that, we can either get you to the information that you need or get you in touch with safety if that's the best next step. So feel free to use our platform to get in touch with folks. All right, let's see here. We've got some other questions coming in. If I want to apply a film to fire-rated glazing, does that affect the rating?
No, it does not, especially when you're dealing with fire resistive solutions. You can definitely apply a film. Fire protective, you have to just watch how thick the film gets. So we always say if you want to do that, give me a call, let me know what kind of film you want to use, and we'll definitely let you know if it's going to be okay or not. But you can definitely do that.
Right, awesome. Do you have different mullions or frame depths and or finishes for the fire-rated glass systems?
So finishes, yes, we have, we use, you can anodize. We also do chloroform painting, excuse me. So we have standard finishes, but we can also color match. We can do custom colors. The standard profile is 2.5 by 4.5, but depending on the multifunction, that could get thicker, because the glazing pocket might grow. We can also do a 3-inch face, and we cap our system in aluminum, so that cap can be manipulated as well to make maybe make the depth look a little bit bigger. So we can do that. And then we have a curtain wall system as well. Same. The face is going to be 2.5 or 3 inches, and the mullion thickness will grow as the span or what type of glazing we're using in the system.
Okay, great. Um, let's see, how is the horizontal glass application slip resistance handled?
Okay, so there's a non-rated, non-slip glass that's the last thing that you put onto the glass. So the fire rating will sit behind that, and then we put the non-slip component on top, and so that's how it's done.
All right, awesome.
And then also with the floor, it's the whole I-beam system is done by Safety First, so it's not just the glazing; it's the whole steel system that then connects into the opening. We handle all the components.
Awesome. All right. Let's see. Can this system be used with an in-ground automatic door operator or only overhead ADOs?
So yeah, again, it gets tough. So mostly overhead. In the ground, we'd have to look at it. I don't want to say no. What we always do with door hardware is we always say typically if it's going to fit on the style. So our standard style is 6 inches. Our narrow style is 3 3/4. Typically, if it's going to fit on the style, we're going to be okay with it as long as it meets the rating. But we always like to review the hardware schedule just to make sure we don't have any issues. And when you're dealing with like electrified hardware, we have no problem with that. We can prep for the electrified hardware. That would be done by others in the field.
All right, awesome. Looks like we answered that one. All right, getting a lot of questions about CE credits from everyone. So I'm just gonna do a quick recap of that. We sent a form in the chat. You can submit your AIA number there as well as request a certificate. We do always ask for AIA numbers upon registration. So if you're a person with an AIA number, you probably provided that upon sign up. Also, if you have been to multiple webinars with us, that form does autosave. So if you've submitted that form in the past with your AIA number and whether you want a certificate, we've got that information saved. I know we've got a lot of folks coming to repeat webinars, especially towards the end of the year, as y'all need to rack up those credits before the year is through. So just wanted to let everyone know that that form will save your information in our system. So you don't need to fill it out every time if you're coming to repeat webinars. But if you need it, it's in the chat. Feel free to grab it. All right, let's see here. I think we might have gotten through all of our questions. Yep, yeah, it looks like all the rest in here are just, yeah, clarifying certificates. Got to the ADO one, Canada one as well. So I think we should be all set there. Awesome. Thank you all, everyone, for coming out today, for asking so many great questions. We appreciate your engagement in the afternoon, especially as we're getting close to holiday time. I know it can get hard to keep going at this point in the year. So thank you for joining us. And I hope everybody has a great holiday. If we don't talk to you before then, we will have some other events coming up next week. So if you need more credits, feel free to keep an eye out for those emails. Thank you, Mike, for such a great presentation. I know you went over 9 minutes, which is a little more than we discussed, but I think you still kept it pretty tight, which is great.
Yeah,
Um,
again, we just want to say thank you for everybody coming. And if there's any questions that you might think of, don't hesitate to reach out. We'd be more than happy to help you out with any way we can. And just to say what both said, I hope everybody has a great holiday season.
awesome. All right. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Jennifer and Armani, for being on today as well. We appreciate it. And yeah, everybody have a great rest of your Thursday.